Here is the news in special English. From Washington, I'm Christopher Cruz. President Obama is in Newtown, Connecticut at this hour. He is meeting with families of victims of a deadly mass shooting at an elementary school that happened on Friday. 20 children and 6 women were killed by a gunman who entered the school and opened fire. The 20-year-old gunman also killed himself, but he reportedly killed his mother at the home they shared before he went to the school. The president will also meet with police and medical workers who answered emergency calls from the school. And later, he will speak at a gathering to remember the victims. All of the children killed were ages 6 or 7. On Sunday, the Connecticut State Police said they will spend the next few weeks investigating the murders. Syrian opposition activists say military airplanes bombed a Palestinian camp near Damascus Sunday. They say at least 8 people were killed. Some of the dead were in a Muslim religious center, a mosque, that was struck by a missile. Separately, a Lebanese newspaper reports that Syria's vice president said he does not believe the rebels or the government can win the civil conflict through fighting. Farouk al-Sharaa said a solution to the conflict must involve countries in the area and must involve the United Nations Security Council. He called for the creation of a unity government. Until now, the Syrian government has said it would defeat the rebels. Egyptian opposition groups say the first vote on a proposed constitution should be cancelled and repeated. The groups say there were voting violations. The vote was held Saturday. On Sunday, the ruling Muslim Brotherhood party said unofficial results showed 56% of voters approved of the proposal. The opposition National Salvation Front, however, says it will not accept any unofficial results. It also called for demonstrations throughout the country on Tuesday. 10 of Egypt's 27 areas voted on Saturday. A second vote in the other areas of Egypt is planned for next Saturday. In northwestern Pakistan, security forces killed a group of militants Sunday, one day after the Taliban attacked the international airport in Peshawar. Officials say security forces raided a building near the airport, where 5 militants fled after the attack. They say 3 militants were killed in a shootout with security forces, and 2 others killed themselves by setting off clothing that was filled with explosives. At least 4 civilians were killed during the airport attack on Saturday. Many others were wounded by the rockets and ammunition used in the raid. The Taliban has claimed responsibility for the attack. You are listening to the news in VOA Special English from Washington. Venezuelan voters chose 23 state governors on Sunday. President Hugo Chavez was not able to campaign for members of his political party for the first time. Mr. Chavez is being treated for cancer at a hospital in Cuba. If the cancer forces Mr. Chavez from office, Venezuela must hold new elections within 30 days. The opposition candidate in the recent presidential election that Mr. Chavez won is Enrique Capriles. Mr. Capriles sought re-election Sunday as Governor of Miranda State. If he wins, he would most likely seek the presidency again. Mr. Chavez has urged supporters to vote for Vice President Nicolas Maduro if a presidential election is held. South African President Jacob Zuma told ruling African National Congress members Sunday that the party is able to run Africa's biggest economy. Mr. Zuma also said that meaningful economic change would come soon. He is seeking re-election as party leader. Mr. Zuma spoke to 4,000 delegates gathered in the central city of Bloemfontein to choose the ANC's leadership for the next 5 years. Millions of black South Africans remain in poverty 18 years after the ANC took power. Deputy President Kgalema Motlanthe is hoping to take control of the party from Mr. Zuma. No opposition parties can currently challenge the ANC's popularity. The delegates will vote on a leader in the next few days. Japan's Liberal Democratic Party has won Sunday's parliamentary elections. The LDP will now govern Japan after being the opposition for 3 years. Japanese broadcaster NHK says the LDP and its coalition partner won 324 seats in the 480-seat House of Representatives. The Democratic Party of Japan won just 57 seats. The current Prime Minister Yoshihiko Noda resigned immediately. He said the DPJ, that is, had not been able to meet the expectations of the Japanese people. The LDP has governed the country since the 1950s, except for a very few brief periods of time. The new government is expected to take stronger security measures in its territorial disputes with China. In the Philippines, officials announced the number of dead from the storm called Typhoon Bopha has gone up. Officials now say more than 1,000 people were killed. More than 850 people are still missing. Many of them are fishermen. Hundreds of thousands of people have been left without homes. And finally at this hour, the Pacific island nation of Fiji is now preparing for the powerful cyclone called Evan that hit Samoa last week. The storm killed at least 3 people in Samoa and left thousands without power and water. About 4,000 people in the island nation remain in temporary shelters. On Sunday, officials said shelters have now been set up in northern Fiji as people there wait for the approaching 300-kilometer winds. The storm is expected to reach Fiji late Sunday or early Monday.